Well, hello there, and welcome to today's episode of the Desa Diaries Confessions of a Mad Fat Black Woman. As you probably guessed it, my name is Desa, and as you can clearly see, I am a woman of colour, I am a larger lady, and I have, for want of a better word, issues with my mental health. So, today's video is going to be on a subject that people ask me quite a lot about when they find out that I have anxiety and such, and it's about panic attacks. Now, panic attacks for me are probably the easiest way to identify that I actually have something wrong. I don't like the word, don't like the phrase, but I can't think of something else to say. Mentally. Because with my depression, I'm very good at masking it when I'm feeling a bit depressed, or I usually hide it by going to bed early and that sort of thing. So unless you really know me, it's very difficult to sort of guess that I have something going on underneath. With disordered eating, the whole point of it is that it's a secret kept to yourself there anyway. So even my closest people have never really seen me disordered eat. I don't think someone's ever seen me binge. Ever. I don't think my mum's ever seen me binge. There you go. So yeah, it's the whole point of it. It's hidden. But with panic attacks, it's something that I can't actually hide because I have pretty much no control over it. It can happen at any given moment. So today I just wanted to do a little bit of a breakdown of panic attacks. Sort of explain basically. So I guess we'll just get straight into it. So obviously panic attacks are different for everybody. So they're all personal and such. There are obviously different kinds of panic attacks that are kind of unique to people, but there are sort of ones that sort of crop up for everybody and such. I have had a lot of people sort of ask me how I identify a panic attack, how I deal with a panic attack, and how I know when one's sort of coming. So what I've kind of done is I have sort of three main panic attacks I have, and I have asked Simon. I wasn't very comfortable doing this, but I feel like it's important. I've asked Simon to sort of film me when I'm having said panic attacks, to sort of show what it's like, because it's very hard for me to kind of explain that, and sort of just going to break it down into sort of each sort of one of what it kind of is. So, number one. So, first panic attack I have looks a little something like this.
Okay, this is an example of one of Desa's worst panic attacks. She's alright. I'm right here. Can you take your hand away from your face for me? I need you to try and control your breathing, please, sweetheart. No, my pyjamas. Sweetheart. Sweetheart. I need you to take your hands away from your face, please. Sweetheart. You're okay, everything's absolutely fine, okay? I'm going to turn this recording. This is his same panic attack. As you can see, these things can go on for quite a while. With your shaky hands, clenched fists. Okay. Desa, can you tell me how you're feeling? Can you talk to me? Everything's fine. I need you to slow your breathing down. Slow your breathing down. Just try and control that breathing for me. Everything's fine. You've nothing to worry about. So this is a bit of a bad one. It's not brought anything, on by anything in particular. It's just worrying about various bits and pieces. And these things can come on quite suddenly. Everything's fine, darling. You're absolutely fine. Okay, I'm going to turn the phone off again, okay?
So that panic attack is what we call my whiny or cry panic attack, for want of a better term and such. That's what me and Sam have kind of named it to sort of identify it and such. And this is a stereotypical one. The hyperventilating, I can't really see, lots of times my eyes closed, I breathe quite funny, I have, I shake and that sort of thing, and it's very physically clear to see that I'm having a panic attack, because there's nothing but panic sort of around me. With these ones, I usually can tell when they're going to come, but I can't tell them until about, let's say, 10 minutes beforehand, and I'll try the things that I try to do to try and stop myself from having them. I'm going to do a different video on how I sort of deal with them, because sometimes you can stop panic attacks if you have people around you that know how to deal with them for you, or people that you or things that you do yourself that know that. Well, that's a separate video because it'll be a lot more stuff to go into and such. But yeah, so this one is my kind of like I say, sort of stereotypical hyperventilating one. And how I sort of feel in this sort of thing is obviously the utter panic. The main process that's sort of going through my head is that I can't breathe. And even though my logical brain knows that nothing has changed, my esophagus is exactly the same, and my nose is also exactly the same, and my oxygen level is exactly the same, everything feels a lot tighter and a lot smaller, and I can't get that sort of air, sort of breathe out sort of thing. So yeah, so that's sort of kind of what I'm feeling in terms of that head, in my head, in terms of that at that moment in time. Other than that, and other than so that's my sort of initial thing, and then I'll feel like if people find me, I've had panic attacks in work and such before, or on the road before. I get very embarrassed, and I just want it to, and I get more panicked because I don't want people to see me like that, and I just get sort of in a vicious spiral and such. So what Sam kind of does, he kind of just talks to me until I kind of calm down and come to myself, sort of thing. But yeah, there's no other sort of way to sort of describe like how I'm feeling, as it'll normally happen from something quite small that will mean a lot more. Usually what happens is something's either pent up inside of me that I've not dealt with, and it's subconscious, and I've just so then one small thing has tipped me completely over the edge, or that one small thing will be the trigger for a lot of other things that will come, and it will spiral out of control. For example, if I can't find my keys, that's always a big thing for me, because if I can't find my keys and I'm going out somewhere, then I'm going to be late, which will trigger something else. If I'm going to be late, if for example I'm going to work, then I might get fired. And when my brain works with anxiety, I go from 0 to 100. I go from what the problem is now to the worst possible outcome. So I can get from going to my keys to ending up being destitute and homeless on the street and dying. Don't ask me how I do that. That's just how my brain sort of works. But yeah, so that's panic attack number 1. Attack number 2 looks a little something like this.
Ignoring my shiny shoes for the moment, Desa has trapped my arm. I'm about to show you what is a prime example of her spaced out panic attack. There's a video that precedes this, actually. She's recorded. Let me just see if I am doing this at a funny angle, so bear with me. As you can see, this is me moving her head, and there's no reaction whatsoever. She's fine. She'll come out of this in a few moments. She may not even be aware that we've recorded this. I'm sorry for the angle. There we go. Hello, dear. Okay, I'll turn it off. Hold on.
So this one we call is my spaced out zony one. According to Simon and according to the footage, obviously I've never seen myself like this before, and obviously I'm not coherent. These ones tend to come after I have had my sort of hyperventilating ones, but they can come out of nowhere. I never can kind of predict these ones, and I guess the best way to kind of describe it is it's like I go to sleep, because I don't really remember what's going on. So I can it's happened to me a couple of times before on its own. Like one time it happened when I was a bit worried about a family member's health, and I was talking to Simon in bed, and then it happened, and I got out of the bed to sort of get some sort of air, and then he found me in the dark in the living room, and I don't remember going to the living room, or sitting down in the living room, or Simon finding me in the living room. I just remember being in the living room. So it's like I go to sleep almost. And I think what happens is subconsciously my brain, so everything comes up a bit too much, and I panic. So I just shut down completely. So again, with these ones, like I say, I can never predict when these ones are going to happen, especially if they're coming from on their own. But granted, if I've had a lot of if I've had a sort of hyperventilating one, maybe like a couple minutes later or maybe an hour later, I'll have one of these other ones. I think that's my body trying to sort of compensate for that sort of thing, basically. So yeah, no other way to kind of describe it other than that one. Okay, so that's so panic attack number 2. I hope that made a bit of sense. Now we move on to panic attack number 3, which is the hardest to identify both for Simon and for myself. If I can get footage of this, I can. I will put it on this video, but it's quite hard for Simon to identify this straight away because this is my, as we call, angry panic attack. Now this come from absolutely nowhere, and this is where I go from 0 to 100 in the space of seconds. I've done it mid-sentence before. And like I say, it starts off from something quite small. Again, it could be the keys thing or something, but I get ridiculously angry to the point of where I'm always quite aggressive towards Simon. I've never obviously ever hurt Simon, and I would never try to hurt Simon or anybody that I love. But I just get very frustrated, and Simon wants to describe it as everything being a sort of inconvenience to me. So say I'm having said panic attack, and Sam doesn't realise he asked me to do something, then I will be like so offended, like how dare you sort of ask me to do this? Why would you ask me to do this? And it gets to a point where I'm just screaming and shouting for no apparent reason. Well, other than obviously that things that are annoying me and such, and everything that Simon just kind of pisses me off, and anything that anybody does just kind of pisses me off. And so I try to sort of distance myself from that because it's not very nice. And like I say, it has caused some arguments with me and Simon because it's hard for them to identify immediately. And like I say, it's hard for me to identify immediately. And I'll just, because at first it kind of just feels like a sort of like, it's nothing but rage, just white rage. And I get to the point where it's like, it's building. I'm like, I'm having a panic attack here because I'm just angry with things that aren't. Should be angry about like why like the sky is blue, and I'll be pissed off about it for no apparent reason. This one is what I wanted to, like I say, I'm going to try and get footage of this if I can. Like I say, it's hard because sometimes someone just generally thinks I'm just mad at him. I shouldn't really laugh at that. It's not very nice. But yeah, I wanted to get this one out there as most because this is one that people don't actually realise where people are actually having a panic attack. And obviously it's never okay to be aggressive towards somebody, and it's never okay to be, violent towards somebody. Again, I've never been violent towards my fiance. I've never been violent towards any of my family members, but I have got very, very angry, at them before, and particularly at Simon. While that is never okay, there are differences between obviously the anger and the panic attack, and it's how to deal with them. Now, I'm not going to lie, me and Si are still sort of going down this journey of trying to find out, exactly what it is that triggers this for me, and what we can do to kind of try and help me, because obviously everything he does just kind of, at the moment, kind of irritates me and such. I'm going to try and put some footage in for it here if I can. But if I can get some of it stuff, but that is basically panic attack number 3. And I hope that kind of explains it a little bit more. So I guess that's kind of it today for panic attack sort of like 101. Again, this is all kind of personal to myself. There are different kinds of panic attacks for everybody. Like I say, they are unique to each individual. There are some ones that will be kind of universal, like the hyperventilating kind of one is kind of things that people always kind of recognise as sort of panic attack sort of thing. And that's probably the easiest one to kind of deal with. But just so you guys know, there are different kinds, and this is what they look like. I hope that's explained it a little bit more. I just want to sort of get the images down there and the videos down there, just so you can kind of sort of see that, because I'm not the best in kind of describing how, obviously in the time that I'm having a panic attack, it's probably not the best time to ask me anyway, because I won't be able to get a sort of coherent sentence out of me. But I'm not kind of the best in kind of talking about stuff for this before, because I've never really had to have these conversations, but I did want to sort of get it out there. But if you want to drop me a message, feel free to talk to me about it. That's absolutely fine. Feel free to drop Simon a message if you want to, about it, because he's quite happy to talk to, about how he does with the panic attacks. So please feel to message the page and such. Again, there is the blog as well if you want to listen to my ramblings. Read my ramblings rather than listen to me or watch me. Because sometimes I explain things a little bit better in terms of the written word, just because that's how I best communicate, I feel, just because I am, trying to be a writer. So there is always that there, and that can explain some of the things that are going on in my head that I can't sometimes necessarily get out straight away, sort of face to face kind of thing. If this has helped you, please comment below and let me know. If it hasn't, let me know. If you have any questions, then feel free to get in touch. But as I always say as well, I'm not a professional. So what I'll do as well is I will leave numbers of people that are there to contact if you need any help in terms of like professional help sort of thing. And get the help that you need and such there for you. So that's always there, because I don't know how to diagnose you. What works for me works for me. It might not work for you. But yeah, this is kind of just like a quick sort of video today to kind of show you guys the different aspects of panic attacks, the different sides of panic attacks. I will do another video on how I deal with them, and like I say, how I know if they're going to come up and such. If there's any particular content that you'd like to see about this, please let me know. I want this to be a very interactive page. So if people have suggestions, I'm all ears. There is no such thing as bad feedback. It's always good in terms of this sort of context. I am going to sign off because I'm rambling, and I notice that I do that quite a lot. I don't want to bore you guys with anything. So yeah, that's it from me. It may be cliche, but it's okay not to be okay. Have a good day, guys. Thanks. Bye.